The Hokage, a proud village of ninja. Ninja! Yeah, it's the good old days of dubs where instead of pronouncing words properly like normal English speaking people would do, they'll emphasize on certain words and letters. Yeah, so instead of saying ninja, it's ninja in this anime. But anyway, Flame of Recca review. The manga is by Nobuyuki Unzai, and this anime was actually dubbed by Viz. The anime's running time was from 1997 to 1998. There are 42 episodes, and the animation was done by Studio Period. Oh yeah, they're the same guys who did Yu Yu Hakusho. The story starts off with normal high school student Recca Hanabishi, who's obsessed with ninjas. Recca then runs into a girl called Unagi, who he then labels later on in the anime Princess. Princess, Princess, Princess. You're gonna hear that a lot, so get ready to hear Princess, because apparently Recca is the anime version of Mario, and Unagi has the power of healing. Unagi's power of healing actually catches the attention of quite a few people, one of them being Kage Hoshi. Kage Hoshi is this weird and mysterious woman who puts Recca through some trials and his friends along the way, who are Domon, Fuko and Tokiya. He puts them through some trials, and Recca actually learns that he has the power of fire. Later on in the anime, Recca learns there's even more to this, that he has a lineage of being the son of the 6th generation leader of the Hokage village, and he was sent in time from 400 years ago to the present day because his mother wanted to protect him. And this is where the story starts off, where Recca has to deal with being a ninja in the modern days, and we see certain situations pop up, and one of them is involving a very good villain in my opinion called Kure. One important thing of the story that should be noted are the Madogu, which are these magical ninja weapons which were developed by the Hokage, which is also part of Recca's lineage. These Madogus vary, and they are pretty cool. There's a Madogu for making the person's hair into this sort of killing weapon. There's a Madogu for making a flute into like this thing that sort of manipulates sound and turns into this sort of death weapon. These Madogus are very creative, very just cool, and I really like the creativity of seeing all of these different types of Madogus, and you're going to be seeing low class Madogus to high class Madogus, so just keep an eye out for the different types of Madogus and tell me if you have seen Flame of Recca, which is your favourite type of Madogu or stuff like that. Now the presentation. I have to say the animation is really solid, even though this anime was made back in 1997. The soundtrack is pretty decent, you know, there's some nice OSTs mixed into there. Opening 1, I really do love opening 1, and opening 1 is I Think I'm Happy by Oyster, and this song really is what intrigued me to go and watch Flame of Recca initially, because I just saw this song, I really liked it, and it did actually give me a happy feeling because of the way the lyrics are, and it's pretty cool. Some of the scenes you can see in there, you see each one of the people in Team Hokage just going in, fighting against people, and it had a bit of symbolism showing Recca and his princess. So, I mean, opening 1 was really cool. Ending 1, ooh, love is changing every time. I'm sorry, I'm a sucker for that opening ending. I really like ending 1 as well. It's pretty cool. I mean, ending 1 and opening 1 are pretty badass, and I wish it stayed like that, because ending 2 is very meh. Ending 2, what happened? But Viz are the people that dubbed this anime, as I said before, and Viz, you did a really great job with the dub. I really liked it. It's one of those dubs where it's not the greatest dubs, but it's really funny. I agree with what Yokohama said. It's a really funny dub. There's a lot of perv jokes mixed into there, and there's just a whole load of comedy. I really do like the way they dubbed it. And the guy who did Kure, I don't know his name right now, but I don't know, probably Sam, this is your job, you should correct me on this. The guy who did Kure, really amazing job, because there's one scene when Kure is going at it with Recca, and there's some lines he says, and it's really a great delivery of those lines. So the guy who played Kure, I think he's the MVP of this dub because he did a really awesome and serious job. So overall, the presentation is pretty damn solid. He's Mario. So we have Recca. Recca is pretty much, like I said, he is the Mario type character because his goal is he wants to become a great ninja, but he swears to protect his princess, which is Unagi. Recca, I think, is a great character because he's one of those, he does follow a bit of the archetypes of the main shonen character. Like, you know, he's full of confidence, he's most of the time fearless and makes naive and sort of stupid decisions. But I do really like Recca, and I like what he does later on with the dragons when you learn them. Like Nadare, there's Setsuna, there's all of these different types of dragons that he rules, and they're fire dragons, each with their different unique abilities and attributes. I really just did like Recca and what he stood for, but I did think he was a bit too reckless. But once this way you see him confront with all of this things that are happening, I think that could have been handled better. Maybe the manga does it better, but Recca overall, I mean, he's a decent lead character. The fan service of the series. This is Fuko. Fuko, to me, is probably my favourite character in the series because she's a really good, strong female to contrast with Unagi's uselessness. But I really like Fuko, and obviously I'm a sucker for any character that uses wind. I really like the element of wind. That would be 4, or some people say 5. 4/5/5 element. I think wind is the most interesting, and I always like seeing wind abilities, and she does use that because she has the Fujin. Fuko is very intelligent as well, which I like about her. She uses strategy to sort of fight. She's not the only one out of the crew that does uses strategies to fight, but because there's another character. But I like the fact that she has more smarts to her, and she isn't just two big things up here. I just like some of the comedy they play about with Fuko, and she is a bit of a tomboyish sort of character, but I mean, she has her sort of ladylike moments as well. But Fuko, I like her. She's really interesting. She used to have a lot of fights with Recca, but now she doesn't, because I think at the start of the series they were trying to do this thing where she was fighting him because she really liked him, but that just takes a back seat because Unagi comes in, and then Recca's like, oh my god, my princess, I must run, your princess is in another castle. Kurabara with a mohawk, that's all you really need to know. So but there may be some people who haven't seen Yu Yu Hakusho, so let me just explain. Basically, big tough guy at school, I'm strong, I have a big reputation, he kind of likes this chick called Fuko, and he has a real big rivalry with the main character, but really it's brotherly love. He's not the smartest dude, he uses brain instead of brawn most of the time, and you know, deep down a lot of people respect him. That's all you really need to know. He is Kurabara with a mohawk. That's it. Next we have Unagi, a girl with healing powers, which is really useless! Kage Hoshi, the really mysterious sort of figure in this series. And Kage Hoshi, I really liked her sort of mysterious sort of thing to her. I liked her character design as well. The relationships she has between Recca, it's so interesting, and it's kind of sad as well when you find out why they're connected. But Kage Hoshi, I really liked her character. Really great, sort of shadowy, mysterious character. I can't say too much about her without revealing a big spoiler, but she's very knowledgeable as well. Kage Hoshi for the win. Then we have Tokiya. Tokiya is literally Sasuke before Sasuke even existed. Tokiya, he wants to get revenge on guys that murdered his sister, and he uses this ice cord called Ensui. It's really, really cool. I really like what they did with Ensui. Ensui is literally just like this, it's just the sheath of the sword, but what happens is he absorbs water around him, and he uses it to do some really cool moves. I really like that, and just like some of these techniques are really innovative. Like there's one where he literally puts the swords into the ground and it freezes all of the environment around him, and he can actually cause the ice to go through his enemy as well. There's another one he does, which is, wow, I thought Avatar did bloodbending first, but that's all I'm gonna say, because that was really inventive what they did with his end to his sword. So I mean, props to this mangaka, because there's really interesting stuff she does with the weapons, the Madogus, and what they've done with the characters. And Takiya, not just talking about his Madogu, he's really smart, really intelligent. He's sort of the calm, but sort of like he sort of follows the badass sort of character type, because he is the loner. He doesn't really like to hang about with people. He'd rather not have ties with people. He's calm. He's sort of collected. He does what he sees is right straight away, without, you know, without getting the approval of anybody else. Him and Recca actually clash at one point in the series, which was really interesting. I like that. I like the relationship Takiya has with the rest of them, and the way he bounces off the rest of them, because he, as I said, he's not a social guy. But Takiya, I really liked his character too, and the way he calculates and thinks about how he's gonna use these battles. Really smart, and he also uses strategy in these battles. So Takiya for the win too. And then we have Koganei. Koganei is really cool because he's like that childlike prodigy. So if there are still any Bleach fans, I'm joking, but if you are a Bleach fan, he's a bit like Toshiro Hitsugaya, sort of like the child sort of prodigy kind of guy, because he's really small but he's really good at fighting, and he uses this weird sort of weapon which has different configurations and faces to it, and it's really cool the way he does that. He's a childlike sort of character that we've seen a few times. Obviously this anime was really old, but I mean, just think of the childlike character who has a sort of brotherly relationship with the main character Recca. Also, I don't want to go into too much spoilers with this character, because a lot of this character is to do with spoilers, but he has ties with someone who he really idolized and looked up to, and he has to face that conflict with going up against the guy he really looked up to and the guy who actually trained him. So it's a bit like Sojiro from Rurouni Kenshin as well, this misguided youth by someone who is really strong and really powerful, but in this anime, he actually has to confront this person who he looked up to and idolized to, but instead of him being with that person, he sees Recca as sort of an older brother in the series, from what I gather. So Koganei, pretty cool character too. Then we have Kure. Kure is a very sort of conflicted sort of character, really good villain. There's just so much to this villain, and to me, he sort of is a grey villain, because you could see why he did this, and some of what the villagers did to him, I mean, it was just horrible. But Kure just gives off the evil feeling. He will kill people without a sense of regret. He also wields fire as well. His flames are purple. Kure is a really great, strong and powerful villain, and just seeing some of the things he does next is just amazing. And there is a lot more to Kure than what you first meet, because he's just this guy in a mask and you're like, oh, what is he doing? He looks pretty generic, but there's way more to him. And I felt for Kure what he did, but some of what I felt for what happened to him, but some of the actions he took towards other people weren't justified. But Kure, amazing villain. And there's just this line of dialogue he says to Recca during what happens, and that was so powerful, because the way he said it to Recca, I was like, damn, that was my initial reaction. So Kure, really awesome. Kurenai, because that's something, if you watch the series, we have watched the series, you know what I mean by Kurenai. Just wow, Kure for the win. So Jay's thoughts on this series. I think Flame of Recca is actually a really good series overall. It's got nice fight scenes, like there's a really great one with Recca versus Ku. That's a really good fight scene. Takiya's fights are always pretty interesting, and Fuko's fights. It's got cool characters, even though one of them is a Kurabara ripoff and Yanagi is pretty damn useless. But Fuko, Takiya, Recca, Koganei, Kure, Kage Hoshi, all really get great characters, which I feel if you're watching the series you can at least latch onto 2 of them. I think this anime actually inspired a bit of I think it inspired Naruto, and I think it inspired a bit of Bleach as well, but I think mainly Naruto got a bit of inspiration from this, so that's always a plus to me because I'm a big Naruto fan, and I like to see where Kishimoto gets some of his influence from, because I feel Naruto's a great series. It is not a Yu Yu Hakusho ripoff. If not, it actually does its own things that are really interesting and creative and unique. I like what the mangaka did with the different Madogus, and just the diversity of the different Madogus was really awesome. And just some of this, what the mangaka did with some of the characters, just Recca's and Kage Hoshi's relationship was just really interesting to see, and also Recca and Kure's. The way the mangaka tied some of these characters together was really interesting. I'm saying the mangaka, but this is an anime, I know, but obviously the anime is based off the manga, so just great with that. I mean, overall, great villain with Kure as well. The dragon concept with Recca was really interesting. I'm gonna read the manga for this series because I heard the manga's better, and the anime doesn't cover all of what the manga has to offer. So, I mean, I really did enjoy Flame of Recca. I watched it in 2 weeks, so really awesome series. I give Flame of Recca a B. Maybe this is because I've watched quite a few animes, but I think it's overall just a good anime, a good solid shonen anime. If I wanted to show someone, if someone just asked me what's just a standard shonen anime, one of the animes I would give to them would be Flame of Recca, because that's where it is. I think the manga probably is probably better than the anime was, but just I liked it. If it was longer, I would have given it a higher grade because there could have been more room for progression with those characters and more story developments. But for what it was, just really good. I enjoyed it, and I hope you guys check out Flame of Recca too. Anyway, this has been J-Man's Productions on the J-Zone. If you watched Flame of Recca, tell me what you thought about it. If you haven't, tell me if you're going to check it out. All I gotta say is Fuko, Takiya, Kage Hoshi, and Kure, really great characters. You will latch onto them, but J-Man's Productions on the J-Zone. Live and learn, good luck, and God bless. And where's my princess?